Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got some big updates for the Mandoverse, Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, and the main show, The Mandalorian itself. In an exclusive interview with Dexerto, Temuera Morrison shared his thoughts on the upcoming Mandalorian movie, which has seemingly got a more important place in Star Wars' future than we once assumed. While the New Zealand actor has previously expressed interest in a second season of Boba and hopes to return in Mando Season 4 as well, the Book of Boba Fett might be a one and done. There seems to be so much uncertainty with the future of projects. Even as promoted CCO, Dave Filoni has no idea if there's going to be a second season of Ahsoka, so we have no reason to believe they've got anything planned for Boba Fett either. So apart from Skeleton Crew and Mando Season 4, Dave's Mandoverse movie is the only concrete Mandalorian project that's been authorized by Disney and Lucasfilm, and as the direction of the Favreau and Filoni projects head towards this film, I wouldn't be surprised if second seasons of Boba Fett and Ahsoka have been put on ice for the foreseeable future, or at least until they see how that movie performs. Prior to the strikes, there was a bit of hope when showrunner for Season 1 Robert Rodriguez came out and said he's been told about the future of Boba Fett, but he was sworn to secrecy. But as recently as yesterday, Making Star Wars, a very reliable outlet, off the cuff stated, the strikes which have now ended, as well as delays, have been a positive shake-up for projects like The Mandalorian Season 4. Apparently the script has changed, and maybe, and this is just my speculation, some future plans too. I covered the other day how Ming-Na Wen stated she had not been contacted, and Temuera Morrison says he wants to come back, and was disheartened Boba Fett didn't get an appearance in Mando Season 3. But as I said at the start of the video, a few months ago he said he was very excited about the upcoming film, which will continue Boba's story, as well as those of Ahsoka and our other heroes from Skeleton Crew following Mando Season 4. Here's what Tem said: "I didn't cover this at the time, but now is the perfect opportunity, following Filoni's promotion and the fact we're talking about the Mandalorian's future at large." Here's the quote: "There was talk at the recent celebration. They were getting a group together. It sounds a bit like Avengers, if you ask me. I guess with Jon Favreau's experience making Iron Man, subsequently the Marvel Universe exploded, so it would be the logical thing for them to do. And this isn't the first time someone is comparing what the Mandalorian movie promises to achieve to Avengers Endgame, if this is going to be a wrapping up of sorts of the first phase of The Mandalorian. So I think in some ways Temuera Morrison's accepted that if he doesn't get the second season of Boba that he desperately wants, to see Boba Fett return to his badass ways, then this is the next best thing. Seeing the legacy of the clones on the big screen, in this case in the form of Boba Fett, is a dream come true. He was the absolute undeniable superstar of Attack of the Clones in 2002, as Jango Fett, the template for the clone army, and every other clone he depicted in the prequels thereafter. He went on to play Commander Cody and others in Revenge of the Sith, but in terms of the original template, he played Jango Fett, and now his son, an unmodified clone, Boba. And what's even more poetic is that Filoni's movie is currently scheduled to release in the same year as the 25th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, so that would be a nice full circle type of thing. They should also introduce Omega, Captain Rex in the present day, and Wolf. I would love to see Boba Fett return, reunite with Din in the fight to take down Thrawn. In other Mandoverse news, Making Star Wars have heard from multiple sources Skeleton Crew has been pushed back to Christmas of 2024. There were rumours and speculations sometime next winter, but it's now believed it's going to be December of next year. And so now guys, Bo-Katan actress Katie Sackhoff has once again contradicted something that Pedro Pascal said in regards to their characters in the show. While there was information floating around a few months ago that Din Djarin was supposed to kiss Bo-Katan in the third season, Katie Sackhoff has shut down all speculation. Here's what she said: "No, I think there's probably just as much speculation in the shipping of the Armourer and Bo-Katan." She states in such a large fandom, such things are inevitable and bound to happen. She said, quote, "It's just one of those things, that speculation that people enjoy, but no, nothing more than just joking around between myself and Brendan Wayne." And then she shuts down rumours of cut scenes by saying this: "And there were no scenes that I remember being cut, but if they were, there is probably good reason for it. I know that sometimes some scenes get shortened, and you know, that's probably because of runtime." She then gives us a bit of insight into the creative process behind Season 3. She said this: "I think at the end of the day, John and Dave and the creators of the show have a very specific story and feel of the show, so they do add and delete as they see fit to bring the show to life as it's being edited together. But in regards to shipping Bo and Din as we go into Season 4, Katie gives a strong and affirmative no. Also, in Mandalorian news, in a new interview, the Armorer actress Emily Swallow has expressed disappointment that during the run of Season 3, fans were speculating that she worked for Moff Gideon, that she was a spy, and that she was secretly against the interests of the Mandalorians. She describes this as misunderstanding both her character and the show, what they've been setting up in Mando Seasons 1 and 2 and the Book of Boba Fett, and she thinks it's a problem that is prevalent across current-day media, this concept that's been ingrained to be cynical of our heroes and assume, quote, they're gonna let us down inevitably. And she's now telling us, hold on to your horses. You've not seen the last of the Armorer. She doesn't know if she's returning in Season 4, but according to the actress, she's had conversations with Dave Filoni, and there is so much more to the character that is still to be explored on screen, whether that's her past or her future. And here's something really cool, she acknowledges the Zabrak theory. She said, quote, we're gonna find out if she's actually, I don't know, Darth Maul reincarnated or something like that. There was a rather comical tongue-in-cheek vibe when she said this, but due to her character design and her helmet, Star Wars fans have long theorized that during the Clone Wars, she was a Mandalorian, a Maul loyalist. And so now, my dear friends, we're coming up to the 8th anniversary of The Force Awakens, and yesterday marked 9 years since the first teaser trailer. This Star Wars movie saw the return of the galaxy far, far away on the big screen, for the first time in 10 years. We were on the brink of a new age for the franchise. Disney Star Wars was going to give us their first cinematic outing, and fans had very high expectations. Without realizing it, even if fans had their criticisms, the movie changed the franchise in a myriad of ways. There was so much pressure on the film. Fans who didn't like the prequel trilogy regarded Episode 7 as returning Star Wars to its greatness, focusing on the original trilogy characters, and maybe capturing the magic of 4, 5, and 6. The Force Awakens was a huge success for Disney, and despite a large wave of hate, the vast majority of Star Wars fans saw this as a foundation and a basis for so much potential for the next generation of Star Wars heroes, as well as old and familiar ones. The movie ends on a literal cliffhanger. Rey finds Luke on Ahch-To and reveals the Skywalker lightsaber. She offers it to him, we hear the wonderful score from John Williams, Jedi Steps and finale, and that's where the movie ends. Fans were invigorated. 2017 could not come fast enough. And I'm not going to be talking about Rian Johnson's film, we know how divisive that was, but in the aftermath of the release of The Force Awakens, the world's biggest space opera franchise was back. We wanted to learn more about Kylo, we wanted to know how is Luke going to react to Han Solo's death. What is Luke going to say when he reunites with Leia? Is Luke going to take the lightsaber? Is he going to come back into the fight? And the biggest question, why on earth did he relegate himself to an island? This is Luke Skywalker, the galaxy's biggest hero. A living legend who saw the return of the Jedi. Someone who would never give up hope. The one person who saw good in the heart of the most evil man in the galaxy and brought him back to the light. Threw down his weapon and said, I'm a Jedi, like my father before me. The most brave and compassionate Jedi. What happened to him? As aforementioned, The Last Jedi answered these questions in a manner which disappointed many, but until we got those answers, theories were rife. We knew Disney Star Wars didn't really care too much about the expanded universe, they decanonized it. However, many of us held out hope. They were following some of those story arcs, especially for the children, or should I say the child, of Han and Leia. Another element of Episode 7 that altered the fabric of the franchise forever was the rise of the First Order. We were shown how they were iterations of the Empire of old, and in the same way that Darth Sidious was responsible for the rise of the Galactic Empire. We assumed that Snoke was connected to wider Sith, and that is why there were Darth Plagueis theories and Palpatine theories right from the word go. But the one character from the First Order who defected, Finn, a stormtrooper turned good, that was in my opinion the one hook that allured fans into The Force Awakens from the minute we saw a teaser trailer. Is this stormtrooper going to become a Jedi? I've said it so many times, but John Boyega's character was done so dirty. I am truly keeping my fingers crossed that the Sharmino Bay-Chanoy, Rey Skywalker Jedi movie does more with the character of Finn, if John returns. The Force Awakens got a lot of criticism for being a rehash of A New Hope, the heroism and overall structure of the story. But one thing that cannot be denied was the genius blend of practical effects and CG. Until the special editions, the majority of the original Star Wars trilogy was done using practical effects, whereas the prequel trilogy was the opposite, relying heavily on the new CGI technology. The latter was criticized by media outlets and fans alike. And so, The reliance on visual effects was what we had in our minds going into episode 7, so fans didn't have any real idea of what Disney was going to do, which path they were going to take. But visually, in terms of VFX and cinematography, just like The Last Jedi, it is a breathtaking spectacle, something it is rumoured George Lucas also remarked. The Force Awakens was the first time Star Wars fans were displayed what the future of the franchise could look like. And in the first few years, before this narrative that the prequel trilogy is the best thing since sliced bread, Disney and Lucasfilm were trying to move away from it, focusing primarily on nostalgia from the OT. And it's worth emphasizing, fans were kind of okay with Rey. There wasn't enough in episode 7 to go off. So most fans were just waiting to be given more reasons in the next 2 installments to be invested in the character. And the story that the sequel era is trying to tell is not finished. Daisy hinted this could be another trilogy. As I stated in my last video, this might be episodes 10, 11 and 12 all but in name. And they could very much redeem the character. I'm excited for what it could hold. And they would do so well to bring in aspects of Disney Star Wars that work. When Ahsoka was airing, I said given Hu Yang's age, and the fact he's probably going to be around for a long time, he should appear in the Rey movie to be a kind of archivist and help the younglings and Padawans build their lightsabers and train. I do believe the dynamic between David Tennant and Daisy could be a fascinating one.